Hey guys, it's a steaming pile of ship, and in today's episode we're going to be looking at the Tirpitz, one of the first German ship, well, the first German ship in World of Warships, and also one of the first premium ships in the game as well. It's been around since right around the time the game went from closed beta into the actual live server. Now, why that's important is because of the age of the ship. It's kind of had a little bit of a tough time keeping up with all of the new ships being added into the game. It's gotten hurt a little bit by the power creep. You know, when we first saw the Tirpitz, it was the only battleship with torpedoes. Then after a while, we of course got Scharnhorst, we got Gneisenau, and even Mutsu has torpedoes as well. So it's kind of lost its sort of touch in terms of being the only battleship with torpedoes. It also kind of has been eclipsed in terms of secondaries, and if you'll excuse me, I dropped my mouse during the game. Sorry for the clipping again. I really wish I guess the bug would get fixed or whatever that does this. Although Wargaming doesn't seem to be prioritizing their replay system yet, which is kind of annoying. I wish they would, because they always ask you for a replay if you have to send in proof of something, like cheaters or whatever. Suspected cheaters, I should say, or bugs. But anyways, going off on a tangent, the Tirpitz kind of got eclipsed by a lot of ships that just had better stats as they were introduced in, and it wasn't getting any sort of adjustments. And so we finally have gotten the buff that I think makes the Tirpitz a very, very fun ship to play again. And that, of course, if you haven't found out by now, is the secondary buff. If you notice on the screen, what used to be, I think, a secondary range of 6.5 kilometers is now 10.6 kilometers. So you have the same secondary range as the Bismarck, which I think makes sense. I mean, the Bismarck is pretty much a better Tirpitz. Sure, you don't get the torpedoes, but you do get hydro, and I would consider hydro to be better. The torpedoes are nice, but they're very, very, very gimmicky, and I think that really limits their use and really limited the sort of justification the Tirpitz had for not having the secondaries of the Bismarck. But now they share the same secondaries, so all is well. Taking a shot at this Bayern here is giving us the flat side of the ship, so why not? We're heading off towards A because really I don't like going D in a battleship. The big islands kind of on the ends there make it easier for destroyers, I think, to ambush you, so it kind of acts as a funnel. Here the islands are mostly on my side, and for the other end of it. Oops, there we go. Nice way to start off the match. But the islands are on this side, the ones that are near the cap anyways. You have some kind of dotting the area, but not enough that you would really be able to truly use them for an ambush on someone who is in A, unless you're falling back. But these guys aren't falling back, they're charging right at us. Shots out of the Amagi. I believe the Amagi has a turtle back as well. We get set on fire twice. I'm not sure if I want to repair that yet, because there are, as you can see there are a few destroyers around, and I don't really want to take a torpedo on the nose, and because of where we've been advancing, I'm not really confident that, well, I feel like if from this angle the enemy is probably going to launch torpedoes, and I obviously am not going to take it on the belt from this angle. So we're just going to let this burn for a bit. This Miyoko is starting to turn a little bit. We're going to wait for him to give us the full broadside. He just ate a citadel there, and as he disappears, we'll finish him off. It looked like we literally did about 1,000 damage, but it ended up being a citadel too, so that was kind of funny. And if you look, our fires have burned out already. We did use up a heal, and we still have a lot that we can heal too. We've been weathering out the storm quite a bit here. And that is one thing that I don't like about this map, is with battleship you kind of have to charge in as torpedoes arrive. This is of course why we didn't repair. See if we can... oh, we don't have to dodge them. That was lucky. But it seems a lot harder to disengage from this map in some circumstances just because of the way it's shaped. You just have this big maps, island in the middle, and then it's completely empty. So I do wish there was a little more cover sometimes, but the way that the cover on the other side of the map is situated doesn't suit me as well as a battleship player. Anyways, nice little chunk off of the Amagi, but the rear turret didn't reach him, so we're going to try and hit this New Orleans, although I'm doubting it's really going to hit him because he's a bit out there and he was starting to turn. Let's dodge these. And they ran out as well, so I think that might have been the other destroyer. Whoever's launching those is launching them from their extreme range and kind of hoping I sail in, and it looks like it was probably that Shinonome that is escaping around the corner. I designated him briefly to see if I could get some shots on him, but it looks like he's going to be undetected. Enemy North Carolina, he's the farthest one away from me, but he is giving me broadside, so that'll make it a little easier to hit him. I also have the friendly Amagi. Looks like I think I have him burned to death. Oh, someone else took him out. So I wasn't going to focus him because I had, like I say, the flat side of this North Carolina, so I really wanted to make that count. And we are starting to lose. I mean, you've seen I've already used my second heal there. We're starting to lose quite a bit of hit points with these fires that keep stacking up, so I did repair those too, since it looks like for the most part the enemy destroyers have gone around the corner of the island, and from where I'm at I should spot them if they are to try and charge me. And that is the positioning where attacking a battleship in this area is a little better. I should be a little further, maybe towards where the Graf Spee is on the mini-map if I wanted to avoid torpedoes from this little corner here. As you see, one of them smoke up. North Carolina still giving me broadside. I'm not getting any citadels because of the horrible German dispersion. If we do land some secondary hits in the smoke, so we'll fire at where I think they were landing, and as luck would have it, we do get one overpen. So, one overpen, not really a lot to, I guess, be overjoyed for, but it is damage, so. And on a destroyer where you only have 20,000 hit points, something like that, and you can't heal, every bit of damage stacks up. Anyways, focusing back on the ships over here. Bayern, pretty close, but I noticed the North Carolina is reversing, so we're going to see if we can't try our luck again as we push forward and start to heal. We're going to pop our scout plane as well, so hopefully if a destroyer has fired torpedoes, we might be able to spot them. And we finally get rewarded with a citadel on the North Carolina. Fairly confident that he is going to try and angle away after taking that, although he hasn't really given me much to really expect from him, and he isn't, so we're going to fire again and see if we won't get rewarded once more. Shinonome well within our secondary range now, although, again, before the buff, and another citadel, before the buff he would be at our extreme range of our secondaries, closing in a little bit, but now he's well within them, so he might be trying to... Oh, he ran aground, okay. I didn't know he ran aground. I thought he was trying to maybe turn, make a torpedo run, thinking he was screwed, so we're going to turn away because he might have launched them very easily. I launched my own at him. Torpedoes on the Tirpitz, as do most German ships, have only a range of 6 kilometers, so we do get set on fire, but we kill the guy with our secondaries, and there's the torpedoes we expected. Our little scout plane spotted them. North Carolina still giving me broadside and reversing, so since we have to turn this way anyways, we'll take the shots and see what it rewards us with. And there's the German dispersion coming back. I guess with German battleships, you kind of have to be a little more lucky. He is going forward now, though. That's handy. Oh, he's going to be done, so. I'm going to hold my shots until these torpedoes hit, because I figured that would probably kill him, and I was correct. I probably could have stolen some damage there, but why waste one salvo on him? Let the carrier have his fun. Bayern, not giving us broadside. New Orleans, about to give us broadside. We'll see Can't punish him for that. Z-23 is hanging around in, or right by B, so these might drop a little short. He's right about in our secondary range. We do hit with one overpen there, but he's about in our secondary range, so all we need to do is spot the Z-23, excuse me, about said Z-52. If we spot him again, he will likely be very easy to tear him up with the secondaries. There aren't a lot of enemy ships left. Our team's done fairly well over here. The enemy does have more capture points, although we're about to even the odds on that by capturing A, as long as we don't get hit anymore. Looks like we should be fine. I think I'm out of range of almost every one of those ships. And those shells, of course, land just short. The New Orleans is fairly maneuverable. Amusingly, we get our own, like, the solo cap on this. That was kind of funny. I don't really see that happening a lot in battleships. Because, well, first of all, you're easy to spot, so all they have to do is shoot you once and reset it. But you also don't see it a lot, I guess, either, because apparently people like to hide in the back with battleships. I've never really liked that playstyle, which is probably why I don't really like the Yamato very much. I love these German battleships where you can charge in, and the Tirpitz was pretty much always made to be able to do that. Having the torpedoes really rewarded you for getting close, and having such bad dispersion as you've seen really penalizes you from staying far away, or for staying far away, rather. Bayern's giving us broadside. Let's see what we can do. Of course. Speaking of that German dispersion, looks like we got 2 overpens, but only one of them did damage, so I'm going to guess he's probably getting, by this point, fairly damage saturated. And I'm going to start turning in. Now, one of the things about the Tirpitz and most German battleships in general that I really like, but especially when I originally got the Tirpitz, is that the turrets turn very, very quickly. And that Z-23 is nearby us again, so glad we managed to dodge those. A little bit of a stutter there. I think I was lagging at the time that this replay was recorded, and I think it generally picks up on that in the replay file if you don't actually have the best connection, so apologize for the stutter. We're firing. We've landed we've designated our secondaries for the Bayern there, although I'm going to switch over to the Z-50, or the darn it, I said it again. The Z-23 right there. We get the kill on the Bayern with the secondaries. Now we're just kind of going to hopefully farm some damage before the clock runs out. I'm all out of heals, so there is actually a chance I could die if I need a torpedo or something, so I do want to play a little bit safe, but at this point, it's mostly just farming damage. And I have selected the New Orleans for my secondaries because I think he's going to be easier for them to hit. And since we're just farming at this point, why not make it the easier thing? He's closer, and he's also the bigger, less maneuverable target than a little destroyer. And we're going to try and kill this guy before we burn to death here. And we get the kill to end the game. So not the highest damage game, especially when you consider all of these medals here. I think this is like the most I've ever gotten a match, so I was really confused when I saw all of them sitting here and only 149,000 damage. But we did sink 5 ships. We hit the enemy in the Citadel 5 times, only 48 main battery hits that weren't Citadels, 1 solo cap, proving that not all battleships camp in the back, and 107 secondary target hits, proving that also you do get a little bit closer to your enemies sometimes. Moving on, we were top of the team, 2,462 base experience. All of the achievements, though, are what really made this battle special to me. I got Fireproof, Confederate, 2 Close Quarters Experts, First Blood, Dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, Devastating Strike, and a High Caliber. So I think the only things that I was really missing were Clear Skies and maybe a Double Strike, so... And you pretty much have to be a carrier anymore to get Clear Skies. But moving on, 129,000 damage done by our main battery guns and 19,000 done by the secondaries, so most of it was the main battery units, but you do rack up a little bit of damage from the secondaries, as you can see right there. We tanked 122,000 damage, with 68,000 being from artillery and fires doing the remainder 54,000. Finally, the credits, just under 700,000 credits, 9,400 ship experience, and 940 free experience. Although keep in mind, look at all these flags, stuff like there, wow. Stuff like that, excuse me, Freudian slip, I guess. But we do have a lot of modifiers, so this is a little bit inflated. Don't expect this type of thing all the time, but it should be noted that this is a Tier 8 premium, so you will rake in credits fairly easily compared to other ships. Anyways, let's go over the build, since I don't think I've actually ever done a Tirpitz video. Anyways, we're here in port, and I figured I'd switch over to the ocean port just to show how the camouflage looks if you got the little Santa convoy, I guess, camouflage. I really like how it looks. I like it better than the original camo. But anyways, the only real difference, and here's how the original camo looks, for those of you who don't have Tirpitz. But the only difference between the two is this has just got 50% experience. This is the normal camo. You get 50% experience earned in battle. The camo I've got for the convoys adds 100% bonus free experience on top of all the normal benefits of the original Type 10 Tirpitz. So worth pointing out, if you can ever get your hands on that, they might allow you to purchase it later, kind of like how the Prince Eugen has several camos available to it. Maybe you'll get that option later. It's worth looking at if you're trying to grind up for a Missouri or something, if they end up doing that. Anyways, back to the Tirpitz itself. We'll go ahead and get started with the build. You pretty much want Premium Damage Control Party 2 and Premium Repair Party 2. You can get away with the Catapult Fighter 1, and in fact, I'm actually going to bump that up to Catapult Fighter... Oops, excuse me. I'm going to put it on Catapult Fighter 2 because this is a Tier 8 Premium, so I'd never have trouble getting credits in it. But it does... The Tirpitz does suffer from AA when you compare it to the Bismarck. So, let's look actually. AA Defense 63... and AA Defense 73. So, and I might not even, this is an 11-point captain, so it's not even as good as my captain on the Tirpitz. But having that extra fighter certainly helps. Anyways, going to the upgrades, main armaments modification 1 is a pretty good choice. I feel like you lose turrets sometimes. If you're not worried about it as much, auxiliary armaments mod 1 if you're going for that secondary build, which is actually viable now that the ship has been updated. Since I do want better secondary range, I've got secondary battery mod 2 on here. Damage control system mod 1 for slot number 3. You really don't lose your engine or your steering unless you're already flooding or something, so you're going to repair it anyways. For the 4th slot, I do run steering gears because you don't have hydro, and since this is my Grosser Kurfürst captain, I don't have vigilance, so that, in my opinion, is really handy. But if you go to the Bismarck here, I actually do have damage control system too. If you feel like you can get away without having the extra rudder shift, go ahead and mount this. I used it for quite a while and didn't mind it. But I kind of got tired of not being able to turn as quick. I basically got lazy from using the Bismarck, is what I would call it. Finally, concealment system mod 1 in slot number 5. Going on to the captain, I have direction center for catapult aircraft. Then I'm going to have my expert marksman. You probably could get away with adrenaline rush on the Tirpitz if you wanted to build a specific Tirpitz captain. Let's see how fast these spin real quick. These are 26 seconds with that, so you could probably get away with having the adrenaline rush instead. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. Instead of having expert marksman, but because this is my Grosser Kurfürst captain, I feel like I'd rather have the expert marksman on the Kurfürst. So I've got expert marksman. It's pick your poison basically. In the 3rd row, superintendent to get you that extra heal, and on the Grosser Kurfürst, the extra hydro. Finally, since I'm going for the same secondary build, I've got AFT, manual secondaries, And then finally, I have fire prevention so that I can only burn in that one spot in the center superstructure. So since it merges this two together, it's not as handy on the Tirpitz, I don't think, because you're a much smaller ship to hit than the Grosse Kurfürst. But since the Grosse Kurfürst is a huge ship, very, very easy target to set on fire. I like having it on that, and since it's the same captain, I get it on there. And of course, it certainly helps. If you wanted to, well, I don't even know what I would pick if I wanted to. I have seen manual AA be a decent pick on the Tirpitz, but ultimately, even though carriers are kind of having a resurgence, I personally still rather have that fire prevention. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really do like the Tirpitz now. It took a while. I loved it before, but it kind of slacked, and I really started just playing the Bismarck instead because I liked the Hydro and the great secondaries. But now that you have those same secondaries, I can see myself driving the Tirpitz around a little bit more and having her finally return to that place of glory that she always had. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will catch you next time. This is a Steaming Pile of Ship, signing out.